And ladies and gentlemen, no wedding is complete without the best man, and he's about to speak to you. So please welcome Gareth Quick. I hope I pronounced that one correctly.
It was like the surface of the sun in that church, man. It was hot. I'm going to try and give Father Dooley a run for his money, but I'm going to lay down a sermon that's a little bit out there. My brother, Adrian, is very, very particular about most things. He's particular about his hair, his clothes, his shoes, his coffee. He has very, very particular opinions. He'd risk a car accident for his hair, just checking it, you know. So it came as no surprise when he called me the other week to remind me I had to make a speech and laid down his very particular guidelines. My speech must be 120 seconds long. It must not contain poetry. For some reason, I'm not to say that the bridesmaids look beautiful, but I must say that Kate looks beautiful. But do I really have to? Kate, you're more radiant than a galaxy of stars. No mentions of Ace of Base or Gilligan's Island. The list goes on. So bear with me if I have to rush through things. Not only do I have Adrian's particular guidelines to deal with, but I also wasn't lucky enough to have met Kate until their relationship was well underway. So I might skip a few things here and there. I'd hate to upset my brother. So I'm going to be painting with broad strokes. We're talking big picture stuff here. So let's start from the beginning. About 13.8 billion years ago, by a stroke of luck, a proton 5 billion times smaller than a grain of sand, then 1 billion times smaller than that, rapidly expanded to 1.6 million billion kilometers across in a fraction of a second known as t equals 0. It kept growing from there, and 5 minutes later, 98% of all matter that matters existed. Now I'm gonna skip forward in time a bit because broad strokes. Sorry, Adrian. While I'm skipping forward, stars have been created from helium and hydrogen, and those have exploded, giving birth to new elements. And that's created supernovas, which have exploded in turn, and so on and so forth, and the universe has slowly built its repertoire of elements. So now there's all these clouds of stuff floating around the universe. One particular cloud begins to flatten out and morphs into a spinning, swirling disk of stuff, like many others around it. Luckily, the center of that disk collapses and combusts and forms a new star, condensing the disk into rings, and those rings ball up, and the rest of the mess is swept away by solar winds. It's ridiculous. If you're going to be like that, you can forget about the PowerPoint presentation, yeah? So, let's get our bearings. 4.5 billion years ago, in a particular corner of the universe, in a particular protoplanetary disk, one particular ring forms Earth. A little planet comes along and tries to mess this whole sequence of events up by crashing into Earth. But lucky for us, Earth absorbs the planet, and the resulting debris creates the moon. Our luck continues, and it just so happens that the Earth is in just the right spot, with the particular ingredients required for life. No matter how improbable it may be, Earth is gifted with life, and Adrian and Kate's family trees begin. Now, in a way, yeah, you are siblings, in a way. Now, both of these guys, and all those gathered here today, have been lucky enough to take a ride on one of the most favorable evolutionary lines on Earth for the last 3.8 billion years. From motile cilia to fins to legs, from cytoplasmic membranes to scales to fur, every step of the way, these guys have hit the jackpot. Although at some point their relatives probably lived off the feces of another species. But that's probably. Now this is where it gets a little bit romantic. Not the poo stuff, that's gross. But for every single one of your ancestors, both of you guys, yeah, for every single one of them to have survived, from Picaia gracilens, which is a little wormy fish thing, surviving the Burgess decimation, to all your various grandparents surviving countless wars. For every creature, countless generations through countless species, to have survived, and if you allow some poetic license here, for every single one of them to have fallen in love is extremely lucky. Extremely lucky. These two very particular arrangements of particles, trillions of atoms, never before arranged in such a way and only existing in this arrangement once, born from exploding stars, journeying across the universe over billions of years, drawn together by a force more powerful than gravity. For them to be drawn together and be so perfect for one another, so perfectly matched, more perfectly matched than any of you here, I'm sorry. That's the deal today. For them, despite their differences too, despite Adrian's arrogance, despite his antagonistic sense of humor, despite Kate's kindness and compassion, for them to be drawn together and be so perfect for one another. The improbability of such a thing is immense. It requires an immeasurable amount of luck. Now, all this luck doesn't mean you guys can slack off. Life isn't easy. Of all species to have existed on Earth, at least 97% are now extinct. So you're going to have to keep your wits about you and survive in order to keep this lucky streak going. Somehow I don't think that'll be a problem for them. How lucky they are to have found one another. How lucky we are to be here to share that moment with them. Those particular particles which have been lucky enough to experience your journeys will continue on until the end of time, carrying with you their love for your love for billions of years to come.
Well done.
To Adrian Quick and Kate Speedy, the luckiest couple in the universe. Cheers. One more thing. Don't the bridesmaids look beautiful tonight?
Wow. My mind has been truly blown. Thank you, Dr.